Chapter 22 The True Swordsmanship Wisdom. Kelsey took Connie and the others to the only place where they can find wisdom for swordsmanship, especially with the learning experience that follows it. Out of nearly all of the places she and her friends went to, the location was the least they've been from time to time. Stephen, Connie, and even Lion took notice of the pink flowering trees from the distance. "I've known about these trees," Stephen commented. "You will buy these trees when the crystal gems trained you?" Craig asked. "Mostly for advice, but yes, I was by at least one of these trees. There was one time where Paul took me to a forest like this, but much bigger. Every pink flowering tree around me to communicate with her in peace," Connie replied. "Good to hear," Kelsey smiled, "because the ninja kids do that at the Ninja Garden waterfall." The Ninja Garden waterfall? It's not a big waterfall, but it's the perfect place for wisdom. Hopefully. Lion kept his sight straight ahead as he and the group got closer to the waterfall. The moment they arrived, he, along with Stephen and Connie, witnessed the ninja kids meditating on the boulders with the leader on top of the waterfall. When they opened their eyes, they looked down on Craig's group, but what they didn't expect was the pink lion right behind them. The leader jumped off from the boulder, landing in front of the group, which took Stephen, Connie, and Lion by surprise. "Foe," Eustace shouted. "We're not doing anything suspicious," Kelsey said, protecting Stephen and Connie. "I'm not talking about them, that animal," she pointed at Lion. "He could take over off waterfall just like Xavier did." "That lion looks more intimidating," Zach commented. "How did you even get a lion as a pet?" Preeta added. "I knew something like this would happen." Craig placed his hands behind his back. "He's not gonna hurt anyone. Even though lions are dangerous, this one isn't hazardous." "Believe her, except he's not her pet. It's mine," Stephen chimed in. "We're only here to do some sword training." "Sword training?" Eustace slowly gaining out of a position. "You mean with actual swords?" "It's hard to believe, but if you haven't seen a sword fighter, your day has come." Connie reached behind her shoulder to take her sword out of her scabbard. The kids stared at her sword, including Kelsey's, whose eyes sparkled. Her surroundings turned to black, with a spotlight glowing above her with another above Connie and her sword. "It's the most beautiful sword Kelsey has ever seen." She then took out her sword as Connie found her sword cute. "It's destiny for Kelsey to be the most skilled, mastered from the Crystal Gems sword fighter. The waterfall itself has more wisdom to succeed in swordsmanship." In reality, Connie and Stephen saw Kelsey standing in place as they looked at each other. "Does she usually do this?" Connie asked, turning to Craig. "Yes," Craig answered. "Let her have her moment. She doesn't take that long to snap out of it." "She really wants this badly," Stephen commented. As Connie turned to the ninja kids, she got back on topic as they stared at her sword. "That sword looks legendary," Zach said, eyeing it. "I didn't think they made swords like that," Preeta added. "Ninjas would never have a sword this prestigious and beautiful," Eustace added. "Technically, I never used this blade as much as the last one, but in a way, it does look like those things," Connie replied. "Can me and Kelsey be on top of the waterfall?" "Of course. You two are allowed to practice up there. You just want to see what she can do with her sword, right?" Omar guessed. "Let them live their dream as much as Kelsey is right now," JP added. Kelsey and Connie both got up on top of the waterfall, swords in hand. Lion jumped in the air, landing behind Connie, which surprised Kelsey. "I didn't know he could do that." He's mostly with me at all times. It's not the only thing he can do. Connie smiled as she lifted her sword up. Kelsey looked at Lion as it stared back at her. He didn't express any emotion, as if he wasn't afraid that something could happen at any moment. He's not really dangerous when he's like that. It seems he convinced them he's welcome here. He's always welcome when he's with me and Steven. She then lifted her sword up in the air as Kelsey followed her movements. By the way, I like your sword. Thanks, my dad gave it to me. If you only stayed just a little longer, I would be happy to see you meet him. You just don't limit yourself, do you? Steven called. She can't help herself when the moment's that good to her, Craig replied. Let's focus on the training for now, Connie said. Parry your opponent by blocking yourself like this. She placed the hilt of her sword in front of her face as Kelsey followed her movements. Like this, she looked at her position. Yes, it'll give you a chance to turn it into an attack. When Connie looked at Kelsey's sword, she knew she would break it with her sword being more powerful than hers. Is it better if we don't fight each other? Are you kidding? It will feel like we're teaming up together. I never see you as the enemy. Kelsey chilled as multiple flew off of her head, landing on Connie's head. From the way your pet's feeling, I can agree with you. Connie smiled. Okay, so our next technique is to pose before battle. She lifted her sword up with her hand, pointing it over her head, with multiple looking at it closely. She used her other hand to reach, with only 2 fingers up. Kelsey has always felt brave whenever she's prepared for battle, but Connie's pose became more epic. She mesmerized her pose with the same arm gestures. She lifted her sword up above her head while reaching with her other arm along with her 2 fingers up. As the group and Ninja Kids watched her, she grew a smile on her face. With her and Connie being above the waterfall, she imagines herself in her warrior outfit she had in her fantasies with Connie, being in a swordswoman master outfit with her hair blowing in the wind. Petals of pink flowers from trees blew by them, with multiple by Kelsey's side, with Lion is by Connie's side. You're doing it, Connie smiled. I am, Kelsey replied. Did Paul give you more ways? You wouldn't be surprised if I showed you my own ways. What do you mean? Connie still didn't forget that Steven almost fused with Quake, something she needed to talk to him about before leaving. But at the same time, with only Quake's group and the Ninja Kids, she wouldn't mind as she trusts them enough to give them a surprise. Steven, can you come up here? She called. Steven headed on top of the waterfall as Connie got out of her position. So did Kelsey. Yes, he asked. Should we show Kelsey that we're close together? She asked. Yeah, we haven't done this in a long time. As Connie made multiple flew off of her head, she took Steven's hand, causing them to glow just like before, except this time, no one interrupted. The kids just stared at them, with Kelsey's jaw dropped. Steven and Connie fused into Stefani, with the glow going away. They held their shield and sword, with the sun shining on them. Is it just me, or did Steven and Connie turn into a supermodel? JP blinked. They're more than that, Eustace added. They're a sword master. The Ninja Kids walked up to the waterfall as they kneeled down, showing their respect to Stefani and even Kelsey. Kelsey still kept her attention on the fusion itself, as if she was meeting a masterclass sword fighter. Unbelievable and beyond majestic, she spoke. This is what fusion really looks like, Stefani smiled. It's hard to accomplish, as you need to have a close connection with someone. Is that what you were trying to do with Quake? She pointed at her friend. Steven? With their thoughts shared in their minds, Stefani felt disappointed it didn't happen. Yes, but it wasn't a way of showing off, it was a way of figuring out his pink eye problem. In her mind, Connie wished he didn't do that, but for how it got more serious, she wouldn't even figure out how to resolve it. It's okay, she looked up at the fusion. There is so much I want from you, mainly your Connie self, but I didn't really want to be fused. Just wanted some sword lessons. I don't blame you. Do you want to continue with this? This gave Kelsey an idea, knowing it could be another step for her best friend. Yes, but can I have Craig up here? When they looked at Craig, he froze in place, witnessing the fusion for the first time in his life. He didn't forget what Steven told him this morning, and the fact he almost fused with him with no problem made him realize he's getting closer to him. Craig, Stefani called to his attention. Can you come up here? Okay, he replied as he got up, standing on the boulder in between Stefani and Kelsey. I can't believe this is what you look like when you fuse someone, Steven. Don't call me that. In fusion, call me Stefani. Is it weird if that feels awkward? JP called. You'll get used to it after a while. Okay, Stefani. Craig awkwardly smiled. So why am I up here? His eyes then turned pink as he looked down at the ninja kids who looked like paws in Craig's vision. Oh, that makes sense. Stefani took notice of Craig's eyes. What are you seeing? Paws. 3 paws with different hairstyles, he answered. Bet one of them trained you, right? Kelsey smiled at Stefani. I may not see what he's seeing, but it gave me an idea of who I'm thinking about. Yeah, Stefani replied. One of them did give me wisdom. She looked at Eustace, who's the main paw in Craig's vision. I'm not gonna lie, this doesn't bother me like it used to. Craig looked at Kelsey. But it is still creepy to look at. Kelsey leaned back from her best friend. Then Lion walked up to Craig as it licked his face. It's not bothering Lion, he's growing to like him. Stefani patted on Lion's mane. Maybe if we have time left, we can find Wildernessa to help out with her goal. It's the least we can do for her, Craig smiled. We are gonna do my thing next, right? Armor card. We will. Kelsey went back to sword training, only this time being trained with Stefani. Craig went back down from the waterfall with his pink vision going away. He can only imagine what Paul Woodley looks like if he saw her in person, not in pitch pinkness. Then again, it'll be a miracle if that ever happened. For Armor, once the sword training is over, he'll get his chance to take Steven to the person he wants him to meet. However, he's unsure if he's gonna find her in time.